Hello everyone and welcome to part 1 of What If Starscream's clones turn good. So without further ado, let's start off the story. So this story starts off with Starscream as he discovers a room filled with 5 protoforms in the Harbinger, to which his decision is simple. I will clone myself, and with these clones, may the world fear my name, Lord Starscream. Both Autobots and Decepticons shall fall at my hands. As to which, alas, he brings his clones online. They share his memories, his feelings. Starscream is done like, excellent, a plan is needed in order to destroy all of our enemies. One of the clones then says, destroy? And the other one that says, that seems a little unnecessary, don't you think? And then he looks at the other clone, and both clones agree. Starscream then looks to his clones, as they begin agreeing on the same thing. Fools, you're all me. We have always aimed towards the same thing. Domination of the world. And a Starscream clone steps up. Yes, you have, but we haven't. So from this day forward, we shall all step down as Decepticons, and not take orders from anybody but ourselves. And then Starscream is like, what? What do you mean? Starscream's clones then begin to gain up on him. We humbly thank you for giving us new lives and showing us that we do not need to follow an evil path, such as yours. As to which they all take out their blasters and prepare to terminate Starscreams. Starscream then begins to laugh. All of my war crimes will still count to you 5, so don't think for a second you're all in the clear. You'll see, and when you do, you'll realize that you would have all been much better under my command. The Starscream clones then look at each other and tell Starscream, then we shall work to not be like you. As to which all 5 open fire on Starscream. And in case you're wondering, since we never saw the clones feel the pain of each other, only the OG Starscream feels their pain. Them opening fire on Starscream doesn't really affect them. So Starscream dies. As to which all the clones then look at each other and wonder, what will they do now? Definitely not crawling back to Megatron. If they do that, they'd risk themselves getting killed. And then they look at each other. What about the Autobots? But before the 5 could even think about getting in contact with the Autobots, they hear some ruckus on the Nemesis comms because the Harbinger and the Nemesis are still connected. Bulkhead still gets trapped on board the warship, but without any Starscream clones going to the warship because of all that just transpired, Bulkhead instead encounters a group of Viacon troopers, which he does manage to get rid of a lot of them with ease, but however, that still rings the alarms, which attracts a lot of other Decepticons to his location, to which Bulkhead is then taken prisoner by the cons. And as Megatron is about to interrogate him on why the hell he's on board their warship, like what is Optimus Prime's plan here, something is heard outside, the Insecticon hive, as to which Megatron goes outside to deal with the problem. But Arachnid is put into stasis due to nothing at all changing on the Autobot side of things. And the Insecticon hive bows before Megatron, the Insecticons now under his command. Megatron takes the Insecticons into the warship, to which Starscream's clones come up with their idea. So, they make contact with the Autobots. And at the Autobot base, the Autobots have just bought in Arachnid's pod. And after all that, one topic pops into mind. Where's Bulkhead? He hasn't reported back from his patrol. And the last thing they got from him is that he found a reading that he's gonna go check it out. The next thing we see is a message that came in from Starscream. We have obtained information regarding Bulkhead. Please come to the Harbinger. And then they send a location of the Harbinger. The Autobots question it. We? And then Optimus Prime says, nevertheless, we must see what this is all about. But we will take precaution. As to which Bumblebee is the one entrusted to hold the spark extractor. As to which the Autobots move in with Ratchet joining as well. And all I see is just one Starscream. Welcome, Autobots! RC is most willing to attack, but Optimus stops her and tells the Starscream clone, or Starscream because he doesn't know it's a clone yet. You have gained information on Bulkhead. What is it that you're talking about? And not to mention, in the message you said we. Who else is here, Starscream? As to which the Starscream clone says, I would like to introduce to you my brothers. As to which the other 4 clones come to his side. As to which the Autobots are in shock and in defense, but Optimus says, explain the meaning of this, Starscream. The clones then look at each other and then say, we are not Starscream as you may think, but clones. As to which they signal for the Autobots to follow them. And the Autobots on high guard with Bumblebee holding the spark extractor tightly follow. As to which they show them the tubes where their protoform states were contained in. And the original Starscream's lifeless body. As to which RC looks at the body in shock but also happy that Starscream's gone and Cliff is avenged basically. So Ratchet looks to Optimus, and Optimus looks to Ratchet. And Optimus asks them, why did you do this? And the clones look at him and say, to show that we can be more than what Starscream stood for. We wish to stray from his path and forge our own destinies. And we would be willing to prove that we could walk a good path by assisting you in rescuing Bulkhead from the Decepticons. The 4 then go to the side to talk about this, and Ratchet says, Optimus, if it is true that these Starscreams were protoforms cloned from Starscream, who's to say that they won't just betray us? And Archie's like, yeah, even though I'm glad that Starscream is dead, and Cliff is basically avenged, we gotta be cautious about these guys. And Optimus says, yes, I agree with that. However, don't you think these clones have proven themselves by killing Starscream and offering us the chance to free Bulkhead and wanting to actually help us? While originally Starscream just offered us the information and left. And another thing, protoforms count as new life. So I say we should welcome these clones to join us, as they have chosen this path. And we must respect them, because I have a feeling that there are more to them than meets the eye. As to which the other 3 look at Optimus Prime and agree to give these guys a shot. And also, more or less because they want to rescue Bulkhead. And Optimus Prime walks up to the clones. And then he says, if you successfully assist us in rescuing Bulkhead, we will be more than glad to accept you. And the clones all nod and smile. Optimus then talks to Ratchet and tells them to return to base and contact Wheeljack to come to Earth. That they will need all of their allies at their disposal to pull off this rescue. To which eventually Wheeljack does arrive on Earth, told to rendezvous at the Harbinger's location. Once Wheeljack exits the ship, he greets RCB Optimus, but his face turns serious and a little upset once he sees 5 Starscream clones. Optimus explains everything to Wheeljack, and Wheeljack isn't too excited due to his history with Starscream, but because his buddy Bulkhead's in the hands of the cons, he will hesitantly work with these clones. But as soon as they're done with this, he's out of here. To which the Autobots come up with a plan together. Meanwhile, on the Decepticon warship, Bulkhead is under heavy surveillance. Megatron and Soundwave are in the command center. That is until Soundwave picks up something coming on radar. Wheeljack's ship, the Jackhammer. To which the Nemesis warship begins opening fire on the Jackhammer. But the ship is too fast and it avoids all the shots. To which Megatron is like, what a foolish Autobot you are, Wheeljack. Decepticons, get out there and destroy that Autobot ship, thinking he can free his precious friend. To which Dreadwing leads out a squadron of jet Vehicons to shoot down Wheeljack's ship, and Hardshell leads a few Insecticons out. To which Wheeljack's ship is shot out of the sky, and crash lands far away from the Nemesis. To which Dreadwing and the drones land and scour the wreckage. They open up the ship, but they see it was on autopilot. No one was in it. Meanwhile, within the Nemesis, a ground bridge opens, where the 5 clones, the Autobots, and Wheeljack run through, and Wheeljack looks at the status of his ship, and he says, Step 1 complete, Prime. Optimus is like, excellent. With us transporting and using a Decepticon ground bridge, we shouldn't be found out that easily. Now, let's find Bulkhead. Clones, do your thing. The clones then say, follow us, Autobots. To which the clones lead the Autobots towards the brig, where they see 3 Insecticons on guard at the front door, and inside 6 Vehicons guard Bulkhead. Autobots, attack pattern 912. To which Optimus, Ratchet, RC, and Bumblebee transform, run into the Insecticons, tripping them, which makes them fall down. And Wheeljack takes out his swords, slicing at their necks, killing those 3 Insecticons. And then Ratchet, Optimus, RC, and Bumblebee transform and begin stabbing the Vehicon troopers, killing them. Bulkhead is like, phew, thank goodness you're here, guys. And then he sees the clones. And he is confused. Optimus is like, it is a long story, Bulkhead, but good to see you are operational. Now let us get out of here. But as they're about to leave, he sees the Nemesis warship computer and tells Ratchet to give him the hard drive, that he must fix the errors that he made as Orion Pax and regain the Iacon coordinates. To which Ratchet is like at first, are you crazy, Optimus? We need to get out of here. However, he can't help but bother that they do need this boost. Even if Optimus manages to decode the Iacon coordinates, they'll still be behind. So with this, they'll be at least an even side with the Decepticons. As to which he begins to download the Iacon files into a hard drive. Meanwhile, Megatron gets word from Dreadwing that there was no one in Wheeljack's ship, and Megatron is sort of enraged. However, tells Soundwave to check out their surveillance, and they see in where Bulkhead's cell was the downed Decepticons. And he's like, what? And then Soundwave goes through the rest of the camera systems and see the Autobots with 5 Starscreams? Starscream's a traitor? And where did he find those clones? And then he's like, no matter, Soundwave, put the ship on lockdown. And all Decepticons, let us greet our guests. And as the Iacon coordinates download, the clones get impatient. And one of them actually speeds up the process, which manages to decode the coordinates faster. And he's like, there you go, chop chop, let's get out of here, Doctor. And Ratchet is like, what, thank you. And as the Autobots make their escape, they can't bother to leave without a bang. They enter the room of the Nemesis warship's fueling system, to which Bulkhead and Wheeljack plant bombs. And heck, even the clones can't bother but join in the damage causing. And then a ground bridge opens, with Ratchet, Bulkhead, RC, Bumblebee, and Wheeljack being the first ones to head on out. And Megatron runs into the room, and he makes eye contact with Optimus as he runs through the ground bridge. And the 5 Starscream clones say, all in unison, good riddance, Megatron, for we no longer walk our namesake's path. For we clones have chosen our own destinies. And then they hop through the ground bridge with it shutting off instantly. And Megatron enraged as his warship crashes. Eventually, back at the Autobot base, Optimus Prime calls in all the Autobots. And all the Autobots stand proud as Starscream clones are summoned into the room. And Optimus says, you 5 have proven to be a great help to us, and we are grateful. You all still have much training to do in order to become true Autobots. However, for now, I wish to welcome you to Team Prime. And then the Autobot Elite Guards, Rookies in Training symbol, is placed onto their chests. Wheeljack really feels like leaving, but Bulkhead reassures him they'll do good. As to which Team Prime ready themselves, as the Relicants are near. And that's where I'm gonna leave it off here, everybody. Hopefully you guys enjoyed part 1, and I'll see you guys in part 2.